Alright, let's do this again. I'll go through the changes that I made with the deck. First of all, there aren't many changes, but I'll also talk about some of the changes I've gone to and then gone back from in between now and the last game. And then I'll play another daily event and see how that goes. The main change here is duress, 1 main, 2 side instead of spell pierce, because based on a comment I got on the last video, which was that duress was just better than spell pierce, I started thinking about it and I realized that that is actually correct. You can use duress turn 1 proactively to take their best spell, which is the same as spell piercing it, but you don't have to wait for them to play it. And you can also I originally thought, well, that's not just strictly better than spell pierce, because what if you want to win a counter war and you use spell pierce as your secret tech? Well, you can also just start your counter war with duress, and it's the same thing. If you just play a 1 mana duress, you use the same amount of mana and you get the same amount of counter spells gone from their hand. And the added bonus is, if they don't have any counter spells, you get to see that. You don't just have to guess that they're saving their counterspells, you can see that they don't have any counterspells. So duress is just much better than spell pierce, so I've replaced that there. And in the sideboard, I have also changed in the main deck, just from the main deck to the sideboard, I've taken out 1 Doomblade and put in 1 Disfigure just as a test. The deck is still, it's auto lose to vampires pretty much. I've never won a single game against vampires anytime I've played them, and I'm trying to figure out why, but I can't really. It's just that it's not that much different from normal aggro decks. It's just that I don't have, my Doomblades are completely dead and I always seem to draw them, and it's just it has a lot more powerful endgame than any of the other aggro decks because of the Calastria Highborn sacrificing engine. So Disfigure is just one way of trying to luck my way into winning just a single game of vampires if I can, just by drawing that Miser Disfigure instead of the Doomblade, and it doesn't take that much out of the deck, because there's usually a target for Disfigure in every matchup, but I just have to remember to switch that for the Doomblade if I'm facing just any non-aggro deck. Now, the other changes I went through and then went back, I bought Abyssal Persecutors. I bought 2 of them. I know most lists play 3, but I couldn't afford 3 at the time, so I did buy 2. And I put them in the deck, and my win rate plummeted. And so I was trying to figure that out. It seems like the deck is a lot better set up to verse aggro with Abyssal Persecutors, but the Titans just seem a lot more powerful against control, and my aggro matchup already isn't that terrible. Out of the, I think, maybe 8 times I cast Abyssal Persecutor, I only won the game twice, and I lost the game most of the time just because my spells weren't relevant enough to win the game, and twice I lost because I couldn't bounce my Persecutor. I did add an extra into the Royal, and I added for a while I was playing Consuming Vapors, but then I changed that for the Nurok replica to see how that worked, because I was trying to combine the need for a blocker that didn't die to Lightning Bolt and the need to bounce something to bounce my Abyssal Persecutor, so I was looking for 1/4s and I found that guy, and I thought, oh, that works pretty well. And that was alright. It had good synergy with Mimic Vat, but I couldn't keep it when I got rid of Persecutor because it just didn't do enough for me. But yeah, I did eventually lose the Persecutors because I I stopped winning nearly as many matches. So I've gone back to this build. I guess it's just I play with this build better. I'm not sure that the Abyssal Persecutor build is necessarily worse, but maybe it's too aggressive for my playstyle, because I just completely it was horrible. I was losing all kinds of games that I should have been able to win if I was playing this deck. So that's why I've come back to this deck, and I'm not gonna try the Abyssal Persecutors unless I feel a bit risky, and then if I play it some more, and maybe you need 3 Persecutors to make it work. I don't know. And maybe you need 4 Jason Mind Sculptors to have that extra bounce outlet. But yeah, that's basically all that I changed. I'm pretty sure I went down to 2 Jace Beleren at one point because I needed to find room for other things. But when I got rid of the Persecutor package, I put in Beleren. I was toying around with changing my Seagate Oracles for Trinket Mages. This deck started with Trinket Mages, but I found them less useful than Seagate Oracles, just because the problem with Trinket Mage is, yeah, you get the same amount of card advantage, but your card advantage is always a 1 mana or artifact or an Everflowing Chalice, and they just aren't that useful. Like, you can gain 5 life and shuffle your library, and you can kill a creature, or you can draw a Jace or a Titan, or like a Mana Leak, and I think that's just a lot better. So I am sticking with the Seagate Oracles, and everything else is basically the same. So one thing I wanted to do was add an extra Grave Titan to the sideboard, because again I'm thinking of how I can beat this Vampires matchup, and resolving a Grave Titan is alright because it gives you a bunch of blockers. Also, Grave Titan is very good against the mirror because you can't get Consuming Vapored, and it is a great thing to drop against a Jace that you can't kill, because if he bounces the Grave Titan, you just kill him with the zombies and then replay the Grave Titan. Not like Frost Titan, where they just bounce the Frost Titan, just tap the 2 mana, and then you've got nothing to do with Jace, so you've got to deal with Jace and recast your Frost Titan, and then you can just bounce it again. So I was going to do that, but I don't own another Grave Titan. So they're not that expensive, so I'll probably end up buying one if I win a few more events. And I'll try that. And what I would do is take out my Tectonic Edge, because it seems like the least useful thing here. I mean, it makes the deck more consistent against Valakut decks. But other than that, I'm pretty sure I can get by on the Valakut matchup with 3 Tectonic Edges. So that's one thing I want to try. And yeah, so that's the deck now, and I'll be joining the next daily as soon as it starts, and we'll take the matches from there.